people are usually excited when they've been plunged into the weekend because it means a bit of rest for them. And I have to admit, even for me, there's a bit of an excitement because the routine is different. Saturday hits differently than Tuesday, but we're working nonetheless. Welcome to the show. There's a lot to unpack as always. We begin with the big stories, and there are lots of stories in the news. Now, River State government has made quite a move, cancelling a contract for the, what's the word now? Renovation, facelift, rehabilitation of the state secretariat. It's a 134 billion naira contract. That's a lot of money. So questions naturally would be raised. And they've ordered a refund of the mobilization fee. The Senate has confirmed Professor Joash Amupitan as INEC chairman. So we do have a new chairman. The federal government is to review the presidential pardon list after public outrage. Remember, people had sharp reactions to the list of persons the president was looking to pardon thanks to the prerogative of mercy. Well, by the look of things, the name's off. Sign language teaching compulsory in all basic schools to promote inclusive education. Now, even though it made our big stories, we'll have a proper conversation around the cancellation of the contract by the River State government. I'll have an expert join me to talk about the procurement process for contracts. So it's a professional conversation. If there are speculations that it did not follow due process, what exactly constitutes due process? Those conversations make up Hard Fact 6 brings our major news. After that, it's open season. As always, where else would you go? Stay with me.
When in dire need
Due process was not followed in procurement of the contract. Could it be that there are questions begging answers? And it's not about right or wrong, it's just about the mystery, the fact that we do not know. Could this be a sweep that could affect other projects and policies of the sole administrator? Maybe this is the first of many. So now they've cancelled contracts. Say, oh, there was also money that was awarded for this in this month, this amount. Please give it back to us. But the most important question is this necessary? At 4 o'clock, when my guest joins me to have this conversation from the procurement perspective, the question I'll have for you then is this a necessary move for accountability, or is it strictly politics? Or maybe it could be a blend of both. But time will tell. And we are all here for it. We'll move from that. The Senate has confirmed Professor Joash Amupitan as the new chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Amupitan, a professor of law, was confirmed after 2 hours of screening, during which senators quizzed him on restoring credibility to Nigeria's elections and implementing key reforms. Senate President Godswill charged the new INEC boss to ensure that every vote counted during his tenure. He also pledged that the National Assembly will work closely with the new INEC leadership to promote transparency in future elections. Meanwhile, NBA President Afam Osigwe says the new INEC boss must act in the interest of the country. He spoke with our correspondent, Soibi Oruwari.
You may be appointed by any person. It is your person, how you run the office that matters. It is the importance of the persons we appoint that matters. It is not about how they arise. Because so civil societies may also have interest. We have situations in Nigeria where there are so many civil society organizations that advance political interest. We should insulate whoever occupies that office from interference and ensure that whoever occupies that office is non-partisan, is independent, and does the work in the best interest of Nigeria.
He also urged him to implement parts of the Outrage report on electoral reforms.
To be honest with you, I can't quite convince myself but the best way of appointing it is an alternative to the consumer provision at the moment. But maybe we may look at the Outrage report and look at some of the recommendations. Maybe having an independent body have a way of selecting the person and allowing the person to be properly appointed and confirmed by the Senate. But I'm much more interested in the quality of who gets appointed. The process, we can also tweak a little bit to ensure that it's insulated from politics.
All right, so we'll get to the Outrage report in a bit. What does it say? What should we implement? And what can we let go of? But we have a new INEC chairman. And usually with new dispensations, there are expectations of a new dawn. It's a new year. It's a new position, a new job. Whenever something is new, there is hope. Right? Because new things come with hope. So old commission, new chairman. Will this mean anything different for Nigerians, the elections, and our faith in the system? It depends. What everybody agrees to is that our elections have not been credible. Even the senators that screened him also talked about restoring the hope of the people in the electoral process, ensuring that we have credible elections, because they also know that what Nigerians have been complaining about are valid complaints. So if everybody agrees that elections have not been credible, including those who needed to be elected, the senators, they also agree, oh, you need to do better. When last did we now have credible elections? But anyways, that's not a question Amupitan would need to answer. The answers to the question posed before him are in the future. But the concern, like many Nigerians would say, is because he was appointed by the president. This just might be new wine in old bottle, because the system has not changed. So what would Amupitan do differently? And I hope he understands that posterity on his own part is already counting. Every INEC chairman somehow writes their name in something. It could be in gold, in silver, in stainless steel, depending on your conduct. Because Nigerians will remember you. Mahmood Yakubu, Atairu Jega, You mentioned those names. People have experiences tied to those names based on how they feel about the elections they conducted. So if nothing changes, 2027 would be a defining moment for Amupitan and Nigerians. And so it's important that history remembers him well. But speaking about the Outrage report, which the NBA president talked about, what exactly is it? And what are the provisions of that report? Well, it's a 2008 Electoral Reform Committee report. I had to quote the year so that you know that this electoral reform we've been talking about is not today. 2008. The same way we're saying electoral reform. There was one in 2008. There was a committee put together and they put forward a report. The reason why it's called the Outrage report is because it was chaired by Honorable Justice Mohammed Lawal Outrage, the then Chief Justice of Nigeria. And the recommendations of that report, while there are many, the main points are the establishment of a dedicated body to prosecute electoral malpractices such as vote rigging and violence. It proposed restructuring INEC to ensure its autonomy, including the transfer of the power to appoint the chairman from the president to the judiciary. It's not today they've been saying president should not appoint INEC chairman. It have tay as far back as 2008, and I'm sure even before that. Legislative changes to improve electoral process, including the introduction of independent candidacy. This is why I say he's with the ADC, the PDP, the PPP, CCC. In 2008, they said, what of those that want to run, but they don't need to be part of a party? Can we have independent candidates? It was in this report. Voter education, enhanced efforts. The electorate should know. It's not just going to the polls, hoping that you put your thumb in one symbol. There should be massive education. Let the person voting know enough about the process so that you don't easily give them wrapper or bread. Moving on. Security, of course, and many other recommendations, but these were the main ones. And guess what? Many years later, we haven't implemented many parts of this. Now, electronic voting too, yes, was also a part of this. And that's why I think it's important that we study history. Because sometimes you see that the problem you're facing has been faced by your father. And he also asked questions that you're asking now. It also brings back this our culture of investing energies in looking for solutions but never implementing the solutions. If you check the archives, there are lots of reports. Oh my goodness. You check the Ogoni, the Niger Delta, development of... There are many committees that were put together many years ago, as far back as 20, 30 years, that put reports together. Till today, nothing has been implemented. Remember Confab 2014? Yes, that document is somewhere. The country spent billions. It has not been implemented. The Waste report from 2008, not been implemented. Last 5 years ago, NSAS. Oh, there were different panels of judicial inquiry about police brutality. Reports came out, not been implemented. I'm sure there's a building filled with white paper, enough reports. Even the constitutional amendments that we are going from zone to zone, region to region, there are countless reports. But guess what? Tomorrow, if we suddenly feel the need for reforms, what will happen? We'll constitute another 27-man panel that will sit for 21 days from different regions, geopolitical zones, religions. The religious leaders would be represented, traditional rulers represented, vulnerable groups. I don't know who fits in there, but they will come. The youth, women, age group, everybody will come. And there will be, for weeks, people will fly in from different places. Money will be spent, and then they will put a comprehensive 765-page report. All the technocrats. And when we are done, we will go and keep it somewhere. Another 10 years again, we will now suddenly need development. It's a cycle. If we can stop and just say, you know what? What are the deliberations of the ones we've had so far? What can we implement? And I've gone through the Outrage report, it's bulky, but I have gone through it. If we implement the provisions of that report from 2008, our elections will be credible. Our problems are not new. The solutions are not new. It is the effect it has on us that is new. Hi, this election, E2, that's your reaction, is what is new. But the problem itself has been there. The solution has been provided. We just do not implement it. We'll take this break. After that, more headlines and your thoughts. Welcome back. Still hard facts. 92.3 Nigeria Info. Sam Chinedu. The big story is Rivers government cancels 134 billion naira secretariat contract. Senate confirms Professor Joash Amupitan as INEC chairman. And just before the break, I was talking about the Outrage report as recommended by the NBA chairman. Now, moving to the federal government to review presidential pardon list after public outrage. But before I get there, I'd like to think, it's a statement of fact, it's way beyond my thoughts, that enlightenment is your personal responsibility. So please, just Google the Justice Outrage report. You should find a version of it in PDF that you can get off the internet, right? Go through it, just so that you are abreast of where we are, where we've been, and hopefully help to chart where we're going, right? To have an understanding, so that every time we talk electoral reforms, there's something to refer to, right? I'd implore you to please go through it for yourself. All right. The federal government may drop some names from the presidential pardon lists after public outrage over the inclusion of high-profile and violent offenders. Attorney General Lateef Fagbemi says the clemency list approved by the Council of State is still under review, and no inmate has been released. Security and anti-graft agencies, including the AFCC and NDLEA, reportedly objected to some names, saying they were added without proper vetting. Officials confirmed the final list will be trimmed to exclude individuals whose release could threaten national security or undermine justice. Well, I think this is a step in the right direction. As a Nigerian, and more importantly, as somebody who has common sense, this feels like the right thing to do. And I don't like that we are always making news for reasons like this. It is quite clear that the terms and conditions, the parameters for coming up with that list is questionable. Because this is not allegedly, it's not what people say. Now, agencies of government, EFCC and NDLEA, that help to apprehend, prosecute, investigate some of these criminals. Yes, you can call them criminals because they are behind bars. They've been convicted. Now they are the ones objecting, say, the work that we have done, how did you come about letting this person who has not been in jail long enough go? You can imagine what that does to the morale of the officers who must have taken a very long time to investigate. So while the presidency has not confirmed, the language used is may drop some names, which means we can speak all this English and maybe no name will be dropped. But there's going to be a review. At least that has been confirmed. And we're all here for whatever comes out of it. But I really believe that there should be a reduction in the number of people that will be pardoned from this particular batch. The president would try again. There will be another prerogative of mercy. I don't know. I have to speak to a lawyer if it's 2 months or 6 months or 1 year or every week. The next batch, maybe. But for now, remove some people. All right, it's time for you to be part of the conversation. I'll take the last headline after a few calls. 0817 923 0002. 0817 923 0003. WhatsApp is 080 903 06 416. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube at Nigeria Info PH. You can watch, listen, and engage. Please turn off your radio as you call. Remember the headlines. Rivers government cancels Secretariat contract. Senate confirms Professor Joash Amupitan as INEC chairman. And the federal government is to review the presidential pardon list after a public outrage. Remember, you have just about a minute. I'm certain it's more than enough to say all you have. Hello, Chinedu. Senate confirming Amupitan as INEC chairman. I hope beavers will work this time. I also hope the election will be free and fair, Mr. Chairman. If the answer is yes, then you have our support. Enoch from Ada George. Okay, Enoch. Thank you for that. And Emeka calls from Owerri. Hello, Emeka. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, my doctor.
Afternoon.
I'm highly skeptical about this INEC.
You're what?
INEC keeping two appointed men. Because I want to believe that our company from the center right is the president. And is appointing him as the president, who is interested in winning the election in 2027. And very highly skeptical about his integrity for this election. Forget about what you are saying. We are this, we are that. Our president has accused of nepotism. He appointed him officially most of the people from his side. And people have been saying about that. Why is somebody telling me now that this INEC will be neutral? And not going to be like other people with appointed for his region. I don't want to believe that. But you will see that. But you cannot fool us every time you fool us. I'm skeptical. See, when it happens, let somebody surprise me. You understand?
All right, Emeka. Thank you. That's about a minute. Augustus calls from Bori. Hello, Augustus. Good afternoon.
Yes, I'm Sister Augustus, calling from Bori.
Yeah, go ahead.
Traditional headquarters of Ogoni Kingdom.
All right, go ahead.
My good friend, you are doing a very good job. Unfortunately, since that report of Outrage was not accepted or implemented, we are in for around another round. There is nothing this new INEC chairman will do, because it's surrounded by people that are already there. It's just a one man. And unfortunately, it is always said that he who pays the piper dictates the tune. If they want credible election in this country, the judiciary should appoint the INEC officials. Anything less than that is a mockery on democracy. What do you accept this? It's unfortunate that as a senior advocate of Nigeria, he should try to work very hard to protect his neck. If I were him, I would accept that appointment. Because to work as INEC chairman, sometimes you have to compromise your conscience to the detriment of Nigeria. Many people don't want to register as INEC is doing continuing voter registration because they say their vote will not count.
All right.
That they have voted so years. Sometimes you people who are doing this should come out from your big places and come to the street.
We will come out. Jude calls from Omuma. Hello, Jude. Good afternoon.
Sam, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
River State government cancelled the contract for the renovation of the secretariat. That's a good one. I had expected that to happen. Remember, the governor, Similar Ifubara, before he got his suspension, intended to renovate that secretariat. For me, probably he was trying to go through the procurement procedures before his suspension. Before we have what we call the Public Procurement Act in Nigeria. It's an act.
Yeah.
And that act makes it mandatory for an open bidding. That's what I think the governor was trying to go through before he got his suspension.